Hi traders, welcome to this demonstration of the Daily Pivots Pro application. What we have here is an Excel based program which is designed to interface with Metatrader. So essentially what you have is a very elegant and quick way to control applications within the Metatrader environment, but you use Excel to do so. So you have a lot of granularity and you can achieve very quick changes. Just for the purposes of this demo, this is an introduction to the Daily Pivots Pro application. What you can see here is a cable chart, an hourly chart, and you can see there are three different pivot groups on this chart. One represents GMT, the other one is EST, and the other one is a Frankfurt Open, so GMT plus 1. What I'm going to do is just going to whiz you through a bit of the functionality very quickly. So at the moment, let's just disable the additional pivot groups and just concentrate on one for the purposes of the demo. So I've just removed pivot group 1, pivot group 2, and I'm now going into my main line control. This is where I can control the actual line colors and styles and widths, and also the font and size data for the pivots. For this is basically the group 1 pivots. So for example, if I wanted to change the central pivot from yellow to turquoise, I simply apply the changes and you can just see the central pivot change colors. I'll just move this over here so we can see. So we can see the label PP central pivot, M representing the main pivot label text. Obviously I can change that. I could change this to main, apply those changes, and we now see that all our labels have been changed to a main. We can also nudge our pivot labels by X number of chart periods. So if we want to move slightly to the right, we just could change it to, say, -1. And now you can see our chart labels, our pivot labels, have been actually moved over accordingly. We can also change the size of the data very simply. So let's give it size 13 font. Okay, so very simple. We can change, obviously, the font as well, and so on. We can change the pivot calculation model, so we can go from standard, we can go to Woody's, and you can then go to Fibonacci based pivots if you wish. There are your Fibonacci based pivots, and we can go to finally Camarilla. And there you go, an example of the different pivot systems which you can deploy. You can change all your line colors individually for each pivot level, and also you can actually apply templates very quickly. So for example, we've got different schemes within the system. So I can edit scheme 1. This is my pivot scheme 1, and so I can apply these pivot schemes very quickly to new charts. So if I wanted to change schemes from scheme 1 to, say, scheme 3, just click scheme 3, and there you go. It's changed extremely quickly. Go back to scheme 1, and there you go. What you can also do is apply proximity alerts to pivot groups. So if we go back to a standard pivot group, okay, so this is our standard calculation basis for pivots. If we want to set an alert around any of the pivot levels, we can simply just click main proximity alerts, because as this is the main pivot group, we'll just move that down there. All the user form positioning is configurable, so the system will remember where you last put the user form by loading data into your registry. Okay, so say for example we want to put a pivot, an alert around the central pivot, and we want it to be, say, 10 pips above and below. Simply click 10 in both the upper and lower channels. Decide what color you want. So if you want coral, decide if you want the pivot lines to be solid, or let's use dots. Close that, and now the system has automatically placed dotted lines signifying an alert is actually enabled around your central pivot. When price action comes into that zone, you will get an audible alert where the actual pair and price data is spoken to you using a text-to-speech synthesizer. So that's just a very quick example of some of the things you can do with the Pivots Pro package. I mean, there's a lot of granularity. If we look at the calculation basis, we can change the shift for each system. We can change the calculation point controls, the visibility, the fonts, all kinds of stuff. So far too much to really pack into a short introduction, but hopefully you can see the power of this system. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. It's info@fxalgotrader.com. Thanks very much for watching.